Hey everybody, welcome back to World of Warcraft. You're probably wondering, what are we looking at? Well, what you are looking at is a familiar face. If you guys recall some of the videos I did earlier in this extra stuff playlist of re-showing the Death Knight starter zone. Remember this guy? This is the same Dwarven Death Knight that you guys saw when I redid the get out of my way. When I redid the Death Knight starter zone. Well, during this event, and I'm referring to the extra XP buff event, Winds of Wisdom, during the time where we are having to stay at home, during the coronavirus pandemic, with all the quarantines going on, Blizzard was nice enough to tell everybody, you know what, we understand you're going to be staying at home, and you're going to probably end up playing World of Warcraft quite a bit to kind of deal with the amount of time you're going to be staying at home. So we're going to give you guys a free gift, which is an extra XP buff in case you feel like leveling extra characters or such during this time, which is awesome. It's really cool. A lot of people spoke very positively about this. So I've been in the midst of leveling some characters here and there, going back and forth between leveling as well as keeping up with the main content and max level stuff that on my characters. But anyways, I've been focusing on leveling this guy for a couple of reasons. One is to get him to 120 because I want to get the Dwarven Heritage Armor, and that will be a separate video when I show that. But in the midst of leveling, I realized there was another opportunity to make another video for you guys to see. So how many of you remember long ago in my main World of Warcraft playthrough of my Orc Shaman, where I was leveling that guy with no XP buffs or heritage gear, or not heritage gear, heirloom gear, by the way. So I had to level that guy legit, like without any stuff, just doing questing and such, and maybe a dungeon here or there. But yeah, I remember that, doing all that stuff, and it's just fun looking back where he is now. But I bring that up because I showed you guys the Broken Shore event, which was the launch event for Legion, because as I was saying throughout that time, that was my main motivation to get that guy to that point, because I wanted my shaman to have the Doom Hammer. That was my main motivation, to get to Legion so I could get the Doom Hammer. So I showed you in a separate video the whole Broken Shore launch event for Legion from the Horde side of things. But I never showed you guys the Alliance side of things, and it's kind of important because of what happens. Because as a Horde player, you see what really happens, and you just kind of think nothing of it. Until you then hear from Alliance players about something that they think happened, and you're just like, what? What are you talking about? And that's kind of what happened. And it goes back to what I've been saying in some other videos about the obvious slanted writing that Blizzard's developers and writers seem to do. So I decided, let's go ahead and show you guys the Legion launch event from the perspective or the point of view of Alliance players. So I just got this guy to level 100, doing a mix of the dungeons and questing here in Stormsong Valley. Got my garrison up to level 2. Don't have enough resources to get the town hall up to level 3. That'll build up over time. But this is actually like the first garrison I've had on the Alliance, and it looks nice for, the level 2 garrison. Looks pretty nice. Obviously some of the quests have popped up because I reached level 100, but anyways. So when you reach 100, you log out of the game. Once you log back in, this pops up. The Legion returns. So Varian's going to actually voice part of this first part here. Heroes of the Alliance. He will say this, have returned. And then he'll stop. So the rest of it says, our fleets depart for the Broken Isles at once. As a grand lance, we will pierce the Legion's lines and drive them back to the nether that spawned them. Your ship awaits in the Stormwind Harbor. Make haste, King Varian Rin.
Heroes of the Alliance, I write to you in Azeroth's darkest hour. From the maw of hell, the burning armies of the Legion have returned.
So it gives me a special Hearthstone to go straight to Stormwind. So I showed you guys a number of the really cool things that they had at the launch event for the Horde in the front of the gates of Orgrimmar. I want to show you guys a lot of the cool things they have at Stormwind Harbor for this invasion event. Because there's a number of really cool things here. There's also something I want to test out, because I've never actually tried it. So I figured, if I'm going to test it out, why don't I just go ahead and try it on camera? Partly because I couldn't find any training dummies in my garrison, because apparently there are no training dummies in in your garrison, which I find kind of shocking. But of course, we know that there are training dummies in Stormwind, so... And yes, once you reach level 98, you can throw on your Legion transmogs. So, of course, I put on the set that I got from the Nighthold, because this helm is amazing, and I absolutely love this entire set. And to match it, I went ahead and put on the the Scythe of Argus. So, anyways, before we head over to the harbor, I want to head over here to the training dummies and test something out. If I recall, there are train dummies right over here. Give the game a moment to render in things. There we go. There we are. Okay. So I want to test something out here. Build up my runic power. Okay. Okay. It's a little hard to tell because I wasn't missing any health, but I've never tried Bone Storm as my 20. I usually take Purgatory because to me that's one of those, like, it's a get out of jail free card, sort of, because for a few seconds I'm able to prevent fatal damage, and in case my healer is trying to cast to heal me to prevent me from dying, it could give them a chance to keep me alive. But yeah, see, here's the thing. My issue with Bone Storm is that you have to make sure you build up your runic power, because if you use it when you only have 10 runic power, you're not really going to get much out of it, because it lasts longer and does more. Well, no, actually, I don't think it does more. Okay, no, it does. Up to 15%, based on how much runic power you spend. Now, I could also do Red Thirst. 1.5 minute cooldown. Because I do like Vampiric Blood, especially if you get low on health. Because then you just buff your health, plus you get more healing out of it, so... But anyways, that's not what you guys are here for. We'll just continue to use it for a test run as part of this event. Because of course I'm going to stay as Blood for this event. Technically, I could, do the other specs, but I just think it's kind of more fitting. Well, maybe not more fitting, but let's just say I feel like I can be able to go into these fights, on the Blood spec and be able to just, survive any of them. Compared to if I did Frost, I may do more damage, but I may end up dying due to the lack of sustain, so. Okay, yeah, I can tell immediately something changed here, the moment I got here. So yeah, you'll notice a lot of interesting things here that are specifically for this event. Now, if you get to level 100 and you don't want to do this event, you just go here to the recruiter.
What can I do for you?
And you can pick the option here that says, I've heard this tale before, and you can skip the event and just go straight to Dalaran, which is awesome. If you're leveling alts, you don't want to do this event every time. It's kind of like how, you can do that with BFA. I'm sure you'll be able to do that with Shadowlands. And I do wish that was an option for the Draenor event, but whatever. I guess Legion was the first time they decided to do this. But then again, Legion was the first time they actually tried a number of things, which is part of what made it so awesome and so great. So there's a number of awesome things throughout this launch area here. Notice how many recruits are here. Now some are voluntarily signing up here. Actually, pretty much all of them. Like, no one was, like, conscripted or forced to do this, as far as I know. But I only say that because of the amount of people that are lining up here, waiting and eagerly signing up to be a part of this invasion force. You can see all the various different things that are getting prepped for this. Gnomergon has, and the gnomes have brought their gyrocopters, lots of different soldiers practicing and training, mainly humans, worgans, and dwarves. The funny thing is, there's not really that many Draenei here, with a few exceptions. Like, the Draenei become relevant, of course, later on in Legion, but not really in this opening event. It's interesting. But yeah, there's like, they're they brought cannons and such that they are working on. Deliver the cannons and cannonballs directly from the Great Forge for you. Get some of the Forge's best armor polish for the troops here. Don't be shipping off without getting some of those scuffs out first. The Third Fleet ships are loading up at the end of the dock. Loading up the ships with all these various different supplies. You have, it's like priests and such, they are blessing like holy magic on the medical supplies and the bandages to add more healing. They brought this tank called the Legion Killer from Gnomergon. That's great. Got stuff from the Draenei to infuse some of your stuff with the light. We have brought crystals infused with the light from the Exodar. Allow us a moment to enhance your weapon before you battle with the Legion. We'll do each of these things in just a moment. Sit, friend, and enjoy this meal. You cannot fight on an empty stomach. And of course, they have laid out a lot of really, really nice food here. And of course, they got Pandaren chefs to prepare that food. Now, you may wonder, why do they have really nice food laid out like this for a bunch of soldiers? Think about it. Yeah. Basically, soldiers, don't ask why you're receiving a nice meal before what we anticipate to be a great battle. Lots of recruits. An Eridar illusion. Next demon. The Fell Hound. A quick, wiry beast often seen in large packs. Each hound has 2 tendrils, ending in a sucker of sorts. Should they latch onto you, they will drain your power and eventually your life. Hit them before they hit you. This is great. They're educating the recruits who perhaps have very little knowledge about the Legion and their various different forces and their, the various demons that are part of the Legion on what they are, what they do, and if they attack you, how you fight one of them off. The Eridar, one-time Draenei that fell under the control of the Demon Lord Sargeras, skilled sorcerers in both Fel and Shadow magics. Adjust your wards accordingly. Often in command of contingents of demon forces, they are both a high threat and an excellent target of opportunity. There's lots and lots of great, really cool stuff here. You even have August Foehammer from the 7th Legion here. Because they have, like, submariners and all these. Yeah, there's the shark. The famous shark hanging there from the harbor. There's just so much great stuff here. Lots of really cool stuff here to really... Now, this is funny. This is an event from Cataclysm right here. Just kind of ignore that. That's not necessarily supposed to be here. That's a Cataclysm thing. But yeah, this staging event here for this invasion event is just awesome. So many cool little things here. I'll talk more about this in just a moment. But let's pick up the quest because it's going to ask us to go ahead and do some of these things. Each of these things.
Well met.
Hail, Papaneeks. I've got your ship assignment right here. But first, a bit of readiness is in order.
For the Alliance.
Hold on a second. Gosh, where is the music? There we go.
King's honor, friend.
Allies from across Azeroth have come to Stormwind to support our efforts against the Burning Legion. Before you ship out, you should pay them a visit. Every bit of preparation helps. Visit Alliance forces in Stormwind Harbor.
Bless you.
So, we're going to get our armor polished. By the way, couple things in case you're curious. One, I have never gotten the heirloom rings from my garrison in Warlords. I'm trying on my Horde character that has a max level garrison, but I still cannot get those heirloom rings. The other is my heirloom gear is only up to level 100. So from this point onwards, I'm probably going to have to be getting some better stuff. Let's get some Blessed Bandages. Applies the bandage, restoring 5% health every 3 seconds for 5 minutes and dealing holy damage to attackers. It does not work past level 109. So you can just kind of stack up on these in case you want to use them for this event or even the rest of the time during Legion. So you can just kind of get a whole bunch of these. The fact this is like goes on for like 5 minutes or so, this would be great during the actual event. Hurry up and finish blessing those bandages. We need to get them off to the front. Enchant our weapons. We get actual buffs here, by the way. So polished armor is increased by 30%. Holy enchantment we have a chance on hit to deal additional holy damage. All right, Lenshu. And of course, he's here in case you want to purchase some other things here. So if you need to stock up on some food, which I guess I could. All I've got on me are the black mushrooms and not special brew. I still have those. The pickled elicubes, the lilac sausages, the grilled Gorgron surprise, or the Gorgron mineral water. I don't have to get the water because I'm a Death Knight. I don't use mana. So I'll just go ahead and grab some of the Gorgron surprises. Go.
Until next time.
So let's see. I could either have some dumplings, baked fish, fried rice, ribs, baked fowl, or grilled fish. Oh, I'm going for the ribs. You kidding? This is delicious. Oh, Pandaren food is so good. Oh, those are good ribs. Oh, those are good ribs. What, I'm a dwarf. Oh, some good ribs, Pandaren. I love them.
Have a good one.
Alright, so then the last one is warmed up with the duel. This is what I was holding off on. So you notice all these people that are kind of just hanging around here. And you'll notice like they're just watching these two people fighting. From what I've heard, this is actually very common. Like, even in real life military. Now, for the record, I've never actually been a part of the military in real life. I have met plenty of people in real life. In fact, I've met people in this game that have served in the military. And from what I understand and I've heard, this is actually a common thing. That when you have a bunch of soldiers that are told, stay right here and wait for, the event to get started or for our invasion or launch or whatever it is. You tell a bunch of them to kind of wait and chill right here. They're usually going to find things to kind of like burn off some steam, kill some time, whether it's let's play some cards, such and such, or sparring. And that's basically what this is. Warming each other up with sparring. Alright, so let's see. So I can pick a number of these different people that are here to duel in the meantime. Let's see. Plenty of them look really well and ready to go and geared up. You know what? I like this guy. He's got the Bastion of Twilight. Let's duel a lot! You have bested. Okay. I'm glad to see I'm not the only player who wanted to redo this event. By the way, from what I've heard, I didn't get to participate in this at launch, sadly, because I was still catching up when this launched. After Legion came out is basically when I decided to really commit to leveling my main character to get to this point, as I mentioned before. So I didn't get to participate in anything for Legion at launch. From what I have heard, though, there were hundreds of players here and hundreds of players in Orgrimmar. And then we got to do this awesome event, which featured 40 players from the Alliance and 40 players from the Horde.
I supply only the finest goods.
It's good to see that you prepared yourself. You never know what you'll be facing out there. We've commissioned these rings for high-ranking members of the Alliance. May this one protect you in the battle to come. Yeah. This is your vessel. She's a fine ship, been through many a campaign. Speak with the ship's captain when you are ready to depart. Good luck out there. We have received few reports about what's happening at the Broken Shore, but I wager that King Varian has matters well in hand. Yeah. Take the third fleet. So, remember, Varian...
Need help?
Okay, so... Yes, I'm ready to face the Legion. Hold on, let me put the ring on first.
Light bless you.
So keep in mind, the cinematic for Legion, where we see Varian on the gunship and they're heading to the Broken Shore, along with Sylvanas and her Zeppelin, that's already happened. So they are already there, along with Tyrion Fordring and the Argent Crusade, who were basically the initial force that went there.
Smooth sailing so far. Give me a status report.
Alright, so there's a couple other players here with me.
Several hours ago.
I haven't seen so much as a
Reports
seagull
indicate
for
heavy
hours
fighting.
now.
There is a foulness in the air, and we are headed directly towards it.
May your generosity be returned to you 100-fold.
So I want you to imagine, like, there's only a few of us here. Imagine 40 Alliance players here, and you look over there, there's the Horde ship. Because this is a joint invasion event. Both the Alliance and the Horde are actually working together in this event. This has not happened since Wrath of the Lich King.
Hold on, everyone. This is gonna get worse before it gets better.
Now imagine 40 Horde players are over there. That's kind of one of the big points here. We are fighting the Legion. We're not at war with each other. We're not at each other's throats. At least not yet. But for this, we both factions know we are facing the Legion. There's no room for
A great source of fell energy.
any of this Horde Alliance faction war stuff. And that's the Fellstorm.
It's now or never again.
There's only one way out of this alliance, and it's through that line of demons.
Miss Proudmore.
Lay down covering fire!
Slash spit Greymane.
Charge!
Do not let them reach the spires!
So a bit of the cutscene was kind of cut there, probably because I didn't skip the cutscene and others did.
The structures to our dimension. Take them out, and I bet the whole structure would crumble.
Let's hope you're right.
It worked!
One down, 2 to go.
I'm not going to make it. Break them!
I need a target. One more and the shore is ours.
By the way, you notice over there,
You march to
there's Thrall, there's Vol'jin. So imagine the 40 Alliance players are over here, and the 40 Horde players are over there. This has never been done before. This was the first time this kind of thing ever happened in the history of World of Warcraft. And it was just awesome.
Legion? Ha! Very well. The Master will reward me for your souls.
Finally, enough of your chatter.
We've got him now! Focus on their commander!
Your souls will fuel the
Bone Storm!
Oh,
The Master will mend my flesh again and again. You have the Legion
Yes, yes, we get it.
will return.
Look out! Infernals! Is everyone all right?
singed but alive. We lost many good troops.
We'll have to mourn them later.
Yep.
We need to move before more demons arrive.
Agreed.
Lot of people die in Legion. As they should. There should be a lot of deaths in Legion, and there were.
Varian's forces should have landed just around this hill. Let's hope they had more luck.
I've never seen the demons expand this quickly.
Neither have I. Something has changed. This isn't the same Legion we fought before.
Actually, it is. They're just trying this time. No, seriously. The first couple of times, they weren't really trying, because they thought they didn't have to. This time, they're like, okay, we're not messing around anymore. We're gonna come at you full tilt.
Oh no.
This isn't possible. There are so many of them.
Hold fast, Alliance!
Varian and Mechatork.
Push them back to the portal!
Varian!
Let's go!
We're on our way, Varian. By the way, in case there are some of you that don't know, there were plenty of Horde players that got really sad after this event about what happens to Varian. Plus, he also grew on many of us. Because it was very easy to hate Varian, like, back in Wrath. But he grew over time. By the time we got to Legion, Varian was awesome.
Again, Jaina, it's good to see you safe.
And you.
We've got to take down this portal!
The anchoring crystals are the key. Just get us up there and we'll take care of it.
Form up, Alliance! We push them back to the portal! For Azeroth!
For Azeroth. I want you to take note of that. There are times where Varian has no problem saying for Azeroth, because that's the real point of what's going on here. This isn't about the Alliance, this isn't about the Horde, this is about everyone helping defend Azeroth from an incredibly dangerous threat. Because that's what the Legion really, is. This is one of the most dangerous threats we have ever faced. Because they plan on annihilating and wiping out everything. This isn't about our faction, this is about our planet, our home.
Heal the wounded. We can't rest here for long.
What happened here?
It happened in seconds. We were fighting our way up the shore, and then boom! Explosions of fell energy all around us.
Nice mech.
Buildings just grew up out of them, filled with demons. I don't know how we're going to be able to push them back at this rate.
One demon at a time. With me, Alliance! Leave nothing standing!
Like I said, Varian back in Wrath was... He was a genocidal, racist, warmongering bigot, and it was so easy to hate his guts.
Where is Tyrion?
Don't know. They were on us in seconds. Fell fire everywhere.
Save your strength. We will find him.
Keep your eyes open for survivors. Save as many as you can.
So yeah, the Argent Crusade got here before either the Horde or the Alliance. And yeah, things didn't go well for them at all. And now we're trying to figure out where is Tyrion. By the way, I just got a buff for the Alliance, ×4, which is damage and healing is increased by 20% and max health is increased by 20%. Oh, hey, look! Maleficus. A Dreadlord that I guess we won't see ever again. Because that's the only time I've ever seen that name. But going back to my thing about Varian, as time went on, he just continued to grow as a character. They really worked on him and kind of added more depth to him. Just gave him more moments to really shine and grow. And I'm sure part of that was due to Anduin and his influence. Trying to really kind of help change his father for the better. And the way he would think and approach things. So by the time we got to Varian, to see him... Now, this is unfortunately... There's one thing about this event that irritates me when it comes to the ending. And it's what Varian says to Gul'dan. Because throughout this, he's saying for the... he's saying for Azeroth. Which I love. I love that that's what he's mainly saying. He even says that in the cinematic. And then he decides not to say that as his final words towards Gul'dan. It just irritates the snot out of me. Because it would just be awesome and so powerful and symbolic if that's what he did say to Gul'dan for Azeroth. But no.
Welcome sight.
No, they have him play right into what the writers and developers wanted, which was to once again go back to the faction war thing, but we'll get there. I'll talk more about that when we get there. Don't worry.
They're retreating.
I get the feeling this fight isn't over yet.
Varian,
How big those
I found him.
Dreadlords are.
Look, across the chasm. Tyrion!
Tyrion!
All forces, to Jaina!
So you remember how Thrall had the Earth form a bridge on the Horde side over there?
I've got this.
Mechaturk was so far behind you couldn't even hear his line. Where he's like, how are we going to get across this thing? And of course Jaina's like, I've got this. So this is one of the coolest parts of this entire event. So imagine the 40 Alliance players are making their way up here because we want to save Tyrion from Gul'dan. And then look across over there. There's the Horde. There's Bane, Thrall, Vol'jin, Sylvanas. And now imagine 40 Horde players over here. And that's cool because of what's about to happen. We're about to have a boss fight where 80 players, 40 Horde players and 40 Alliance players actually fight the same boss together. And that's just awesome. Oh, Tyrion.
Tyrion!
Gul'dan, you will pay for this!
Stay back! It's a trap! The light will protect me! You fool! You stand before the temple of a...
We do have a Horde player over there.
Your pitiful light cannot reach you here.
Hi!
That your friends have arrived. Just
I slash wave. Hi.
watch you die.
Like, imagine if your friends were over there and it was like, oh, hey, how you doing?
Destroy.
Now, watch what Tyrion does here. He's invulning. He popped the bubble.
The light will...
And Croesus burned right through it.
Thordring!
No!
All you have worked for, all you have sacrificed, just to see your champions fall to ash, one by one. Destroy them. You will know fear.
Yeah, we'll be seeing Croesus again later.
Brace yourselves, Alliance. It's coming this way.
I got this.
I'm here.
Go on.
He's heading your way, Windrunner.
Let's go, Horde! It's time to show the Alliance how we slay demons!
Beasts from the Fellfire emerge! Be careful!
All yours, Alliance.
We've got him this time. All forces, concentrate your fire.
Bone Storm!
You've got another shot at the kill, Sylvanas.
Consider your job done, then, Rin.
By the way, notice how amicable both Sylvanas and Varian are to each other in this event.
The bigger they are.
No time to gloat, Rin. We've got to stop Gul'dan before he summons another one of those things.
Everyone, across the chasm!
Thanks a lot.
Now, notice this here.
We'll take the ridge and cover your flank.
Sylvanas, thank you.
Good luck, Varian.
And you.
Now, I want you to pay attention to what the Alliance players can see here. This is what an Alliance player sees the entire time they're doing this event. That's all we can see of what's going on up there from this angle right here. That's important.
There is nowhere to run, Gul'dan. Give up now, and I will grant you a swift death.
You are right, human. There is nowhere to run from my master. Now, witness the true might of Lord Sargeras.
Hold steady.
Okay, so...
Broken their lines before. We will again. Charge!
You know, just a bunch of demons. Nothing we haven't faced before, right? This is nothing unusual. Nothing too crazy.
We will never...
But again, this is what the Alliance players are dealing with.
The combined forces of Azeroth will triumph today!
Less chatting, Rin! Kill him already!
I have seen the end of your pitiful world, Ren. You will perish.
Okay, so now we're getting some stronger demons in here.
1,000 worlds before your own. The Legion is endless.
No matter how many demons you throw at us, we will cut you down, monster!
Oh, Varian.
We return
Daraxus!
to conquer this
Gastromoth. Now some named demons are showing up here.
Add it to a husk.
Tichondrius.
Human.
Mephistroth.
Of this world is sealed. The Legion cannot be stopped.
Brutalis is back there.
Now you will fall.
Mal'Ganis is here as well. There's a lot of named demons that we have seen in the past right there. Now pay attention to what happens here.
Victory is ours! Hold fast! Mechator! We finish this now! Call in the gunship!
Way ahead of you, sir. Transangulating our positions right now.
Get it! Get it! Oh, Lord! Push forward! And get Windrunner's archers to clear the skies!
No, she wouldn't. I knew it! I knew we couldn't trust her!
The blatant lie from Blizzard here is just sickening to me.
Overrun! We must retreat! Get everyone to the gunship. Everyone! Fall back!
Oh, that sound.
Varian! Take this to my son.
Goodbye, Varian. And he just one-shots a Fel Reaver, which I'm sure I've heard some players joked that, oh yeah, of course Varian gets to one-shot kill steal a Fel Reaver. Time to go Fury! I'll talk more about this sequence in particular in just a bit once it's over.
You will be remembered as the king who sacrificed his life for nothing.
And here it is. The only part that irritates me.
For the Alliance.
So, that little difference there is that if you watch that on the Horde side, it's the other blade. No. Oh, okay. So we gotta talk about that. There's quite a bit to talk about. Varian did not really understand what he was facing. And I say that because what's the first thing we hear him say in that cutscene? Victory is ours. No. They never had victory. There's something I forgot to comment on while we were taking a look at the launch event, the preparation stage, is that both the Alliance and the Horde went into this invasion with false information. The reason we know that is because of what you find out in the Rogue Order Hall campaign. If you play a Rogue in Legion, you find out that something very important happened before the launch event of Legion, the Broken Shore event that we just did, which was one of the Dreadlords captures Matthias Shaw, the leader of SI-7, the Alliance's head intelligence agency, and impersonates him, and gives both the Alliance and the Horde false information of how much of their force, the Legion's force, are going to be at the Broken Shore. Both the Alliance and the Horde went into this event full of confidence, like, we got this. We're going to just wreck the Legion and turn them away, because they thought they were facing a minor invasion force, and they thought, we've beaten the Legion before. We just beat the Iron Horde. We can beat this easily. It was a trap. Because that's why then all of a sudden, you just see this monstrous force show up. And that's what, you saw all the named demons are at the end. Them making a point of... Let me see if I can show you guys some of the lines they had there just now. You had Drax saying, "We return, Brutalis from Sunwell, to conquer this puny world, and burn it to a husk." And I was pointing out some of the other named ones there, including Mal'Ganis and such. Mephistroth, who we see later on. Balnazar is back. Number of different demons from the past of the Legion now here, because, as I said, they're actually trying this time with their full force. Now, if you saw my Horde perspective of this in my main playthrough, you will know that what was actually happening up on that ridge was that a giant force showed up behind the Horde and curb-stomped them. They had ships warp in and blast the leaders like Thrall and Bane. Vol'jin gets stabbed. Sylvanas tries to save Vol'jin, and he tells her, "Don't let the Horde die this day." And so they had to tactically retreat, otherwise they would have been overrun. In fact, they were overrun. That's why they had to retreat. But the Alliance players never see that. You saw how that was shown in that cutscene, right? You just saw the archers just casually just turn around and walk away. It didn't look like they were trying to fight for their lives or trying to frantically get out of there before dying or anything, as it was what was actually happening. No. Blizzard wanted the Alliance players to think the Horde actually betrayed them. Even Varian refused to believe it and knew that wasn't what was actually happening by saying no, she wouldn't. But of course, Greymane, because of his, legit grievance against Sylvanas, immediately was like, "I knew it! I knew we couldn't trust her! I knew that she'd betray us!" And from this point onward, the Alliance and Alliance players continue to think the Horde betrayed them, unless you play a rogue and find out the truth. But even then, to this day, even after the events of BFA and the war campaign coming to an end, the Alliance still act as if they think the Horde betrayed them. In fact, Blizzard has played this up. J. Allen Brack at BlizzCon, when he announced BFA, said, "Hey Alliance, remember how the Horde betrayed you at the Broken Shore and got your king killed?" Which is not true. It's stupid to think that that's true, because we know for a fact that isn't true. Gul'dan killed Varian, not the Horde, not Sylvanas. They had to retreat. They made the right call. Trying to think of anything else I want to make sure I talked about in regards to that cutscene. Oh yeah, Varian. Varian did not understand what he was facing. I mentioned that he first said victory is ours, but that's not entirely what captures it. Some of the other things he was saying, such as, "We will never fall to you, Gul'dan," or "No matter how many demons you throw at us, we will cut you down." He thought you could just keep sending forces, and we'll just keep taking them down. But that's not true against a threat like the Legion. Because very few characters in this setting actually understand what the Legion really is. Varian doesn't know what kind of true threat the Legion actually is. Because they can just send an endless army. And eventually, we'll just run out of forces. But they won't. That's part of the point of the Legion. Characters like Illidan and Velen are the only characters that actually understand what the Legion really is. And so that's why Varian is just like, I'll kill you, 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 I'll kill you. That's what eventually happened. He should have died there, and he did. And a lot of people do. But that's why Gul'dan just stands there, just smiling at Varian, watching him actually fight the demons. Because he understands. Gul'dan knows the truth of what the Legion is, and knows that there's just no point to it. It's futile what Varian's doing, and that's why he's just like, ha ha ha, how pathetic. It makes perfect sense what happened. So yeah, I think that's all I want to make sure I covered.
We owe much.
Hi, Greymane. Ah, you're up. I'm relieved that you made it out of that bloodbath alive. Yeah, notice that we are basically limping out of this. Both the Horde and the Alliance came out of this broken and battered and limping and bleeding. We got crushed. There's a lot of people here that are basically on death's door. A lot of those people, those soldiers right there, they're trying to get healed by the medics. Some of them are not going to make it. And that's part of the cold truth of the reality of what we were facing in Legion. This is one of the reasons why I loved Legion as an expansion. Because the Burning Legion is was one of those factions that was a legitimate threat. You really felt like as if we could actually lose this whole war against the Burning Legion. That's the kind of threat it felt like. It's one of the reasons I enjoyed this expansion so much, is because it really did feel like we were facing a true legitimate threat to all of us, everyone. Remember, their goal is to wipe out all life. Not just on this planet, but in the universe. That's what their Burning Crusade is. As Killed Jaden even says later on in this expansion, a grand crusade that would reach the ends of creation. We lost so many good women and men down there. He clenches his teeth. Damn the Horde for serving us up to the Legion. Yeah, because of course, as I said, they completely think and believe, 100% without hesitation, oh, of course the Horde betrayed us to the Burning Legion. And again, the very idea to think that the Horde would actually just abandon and betray the Alliance to die at the hands of the Burning Legion is stupid. Because, I mean, what? Did they think that the Horde could actually beat them on their own? No! No! That's the point of us uniting together. That when the Horde and the Alliance unite together, we can be able to face and defeat these incredibly powerful forces, like the Iron Horde was in the Warlords, and other threats we have faced in the past. We're able to defeat the Legion not because the Horde and the Alliance unite, it's because of we decide, forget factions, we're going to unite the class order halls. That's what helps us be able to actually defeat the Legion later. Go ahead and grab that. The Fallen Lion. I haven't left the deck of this ship since we got back. The fleet must be made ready for war. Don't know where we will be needed, but when the call comes, we'll be ready. Truth be told, I welcome the distraction. The others are paying their respects to Varian, but I cannot bring myself to face that casket. To face his son. Varian gave me a letter that he wrote to Anduin. Please take it to him on my behalf. What I love about this is that this is in the Legion cinematic. You hear Varian talk during the cinematic because that's the letter he's writing here. You know, like how it says "my son," and then he starts, you know, "a terrible darkness has returned to our world." What he was writing in that cinematic, this is that same letter that he was writing. So if you want to know what the letter said, go watch the awesome Legion cinematic, which is one of my favorite cinematics ever.
Trust your instincts.
Tess and Commander Crowley will escort you to the keep. I need to stay and oversee preparations. When you deliver the letter, please give King Anduin my condolences. Yeah, he instead goes to team up with Sky Admiral Rogers to prep the gunship to go after the Horde in Stormheim. Which is stupid, and why Stormheim is one of my least favorites, is like my least favorite zone in Legion, but anyways. So, there's Princess Tess Greymane, and there's Lorna Crowley. Now, for the record, I like both of them. I like Lorna except for a couple of things that happen in Stormheim. See, Stormheim really paints the Alliance in a very negative fashion for me. It's mainly due to, again, Sky Admiral Rogers, and unfortunately Laura, because I liked Lorna. I liked her in the starter zone. But then she says things in Stormheim that irritate me. Like when she's referring to the Forsaken as foul creatures. Because, I'm sorry, but the whole thing of the Alliance looking at the undead as these, like, foul creatures that you don't belong in this world. You have Death Knights. Hello, right here. I'm a Death Knight. In the Alliance. What's the difference? I'm undead. The Forsaken are undead. If you're gonna be, you can't be this hypocritical. Talking about the Forsaken as these horrible, foul creatures that need to be exterminated when you are working alongside a Death Knight in the Alliance. Just, ugh. So these two are about to have a conversation on our flight over to Stormwind Keep. Go ahead and pay attention to this. I've seen my father angry before, but never like this. He's consumed by his lust for vengeance. All Gilneans have a rage inside us, Tess. Your father more than most. Indeed, it's sometimes hard to know where the rage ends and the man begins. My father stands with the king. The Forsaken will never see our forces coming. I fear there will soon be more funerals. Such is the cost of vengeance. Gilneas has waited for it long enough. We're almost at the keep. Please tell King Anduin that he's in our thoughts. Quickly, Tess. The gunship will be ready to leave soon. Now, I find that funny because Tess does not join us in Stormheim. She instead goes to join the Uncrowned for the Rogue Order Hall. So, we now have a gathering of the leaders of the Alliance here to mourn Varian. King Anduin, the hero of the Broken Shore approaches. At last, some good news on this day of sorrow. His valor inspired us all, even in death. His spirit will be with us always. I can't believe he's really gone. He died with honor, protecting his people. He was a true king. So I want you to take notice of who's here. The three leaders of Ironforge are here. Falstad, Moira, Muradin, Velen is here. This is before the events of the Exodar, so Velen hasn't taken that next step yet, but he will. Asa, Mechatork, Malfurion, and Tyrande. Is he visible here yet? I don't see him. I'm wondering where Jace is, because we're about to see the Night Elf Demon Hunters show up. So, anyways. And of course, Miss Proudmoore's here. There's Anduin with his old model from Legion. So. Varian. I liked Varian. I got sad when Varian died. And it was mainly partly because
Greetings, friend.
that is, to me, that's really something when he decides to sacrifice his own life so that his people could get out of there alive. To fight another day. Because that's what he realized had to happen. He had to stop that Garathi from taking down the gunship, otherwise everyone else was going to die. And that just couldn't happen in his eyes. Welcome back to Stormwind. I'm relieved that you survived the Broken Shore. We cannot afford to lose you. I come bearing a letter from your father.
Never lose hope.
My father was a seasoned strategist, yet his army was shattered on the Broken Shore. How can I hope to succeed where he failed?
You are not alone in this, my king. We stand behind you.
And with the return of the Illidari, we have a valuable weapon on our side. You were wise to accept them into Stormwind, King Anduin.
Have you forgotten the Horde's treachery? It's time to bring them to heel like the dogs they are.
To fight two wars at once would be folly. For all our sakes, we need the Horde's strength added to our own.
Velen is right. We must stand beside the demon hunters and focus on the Legion. Now is not the time to... The Horde betrayed your father and left us to die. To fight alongside those cowards would dishonor everything that he stood for.
My people know the price of facing the demons as a world divided. It is time to unite our forces and defend our lands.
Agreed. I'm sorry, Jaina, but vengeance must wait. I trust that you're mobilizing the Kirin Tor as we discussed. Dalaran will help protect the Eastern Kingdoms, but I will not allow the Horde to set foot within my city. It's cute she thinks that's her city. We must not splinter like this. Not now, please, Jaina. You disappoint me, King of Stormwind, but sooner or later you will see the truth. You all will! My father dead, disaster on the Broken Shore, Jaina fixed on revenge. Everything is falling apart. So she leaves, teleports. Now we know that where she went was Theramore, because of the Warbringers animation from BFA. That's basically where she went, because we don't see her again for the rest of the expansion. By the way, there was another thing that happened, which I can't show you, where Khadgar reached out to one of the Horde mages and brought them to the Kirin Tor leadership and said, we need to bring the Horde mages back into the Kirin Tor. And Jaina was vehemently against it because right now she was on a vendetta against the Horde. But Khadgar was like, yeah, this faction stuff, no. We're putting that aside against the Burning Legion. That faction stuff doesn't mean anything right now against the Burning Legion. So he put it to a vote. And Jaina was outvoted, of course. And before that vote happened, she put out an ultimatum. She said, okay, either you take the Horde back, or if you bring the Horde back, I'm gone. So you can either have the Horde here, or me. Make your choice. And they chose to bring the Horde mages, because they're not stupid. And so Jaina was like, alright, I'm not part of the Kirin Tor anymore. Bye-bye. So she is basically, like, on full-on revenge vendetta right now. She's abandoned the Kirin Tor, and now she's abandoned, basically, the Alliance during this time, because, well, she can't stand the idea of fighting alongside the Horde, even against the Burning Legion.
A king is only as noble as the causes
Anduin
he
sighs and he
serves.
reads the letter from his father. Tears well in his eyes. He is silent for several moments. Thank you for bringing this to me. It means, well, more than I can say. I wish Greymane felt that he could present it himself, but his mind is fixed on revenge. I cannot blame him, or Jaina for that matter, but we must find a better way. Enough of such talk. It is good that you are here. We will need heroes like you in many battles to come. This is something that does bother me, though. They just accept that, well, of course the Horde betrayed us. He's not even questioning whether or not the Horde actually betrayed them at the Broken Shore. Like, none of them here do. They all just kind of accept it. They're just like, oh yeah, well, of course the Horde betrayed us, but we need to put that aside. And I'm just like, none of you, not one single one of you, actually questions whether or not the Horde would actually not betray you. But again, slanted writing. Blizzard and their writers forcing Alliance players to think and feel a certain way. Not necessarily just towards the Horde in the game, but the players who play the Horde. And this is something that to me is extremely dangerous that Blizzard does. They keep trying to push this forced dichotomy of Horde versus Alliance, trying to make the Horde look like they are the evil bad guys, but also basically making Alliance players hate Horde players. Now, you may think I'm exaggerating, but you can probably also look up stuff. I've seen some stuff where some Alliance players have talked about how they cannot wait to actually commit atrocities to the Horde. Now, they're probably referring to the Horde in the game. But there are times I do wonder if there are any players out there that may go a little too far and actually direct that to Horde players. That's one of my biggest concerns, is when you start to slant this so hard, and there are people that take this thing a little too seriously at times, where they may actually, well, direct that towards Horde players. And that sometimes can happen in PvP. I've seen it in World PvP with War Mode. It's ugly. There are times where this can get extreme, this whole faction thing can get extremely ugly. And I hate it. I can't stand it. This is one of the things I loved about this expansion, that we put that stuff aside and said, forget about factions. This is about one. That's why I mentioned why it was irritating to me that Varian at the end there, his last words to Gul'dan wasn't for Azeroth, it was for the Alliance. I'm like, really? You couldn't have said for Azeroth just one more time? He's been saying it throughout. He said it in the cinematic, he said it in that event, but no, that one time he says he has to say for the Alliance. And you know why? Because again, the Blizzard writers and developers want to force this slanted writing to get the Alliance players to feel angry towards the Horde and Horde players. Because that's what happened after this event. People went to the forums and they were livid.
Victory in the light.
There's Jace. Let me try. For a moment, I forgot how Malfurion sounds. Having the Illidari among us makes me uneasy. Their kind has been locked away since my brother's fall.
I understand, husband, but for Maiev to release them, the situation must be even more dire than we know.
I bring urgent news, my king. Danger is all around you. I will hear what this demon hunter has to say.
So that is Malfurion's blind spot to Illidan coming up. He did, his main problem with the demon hunters is their association with Illidan, because, well, we know how much of a blind spot Malfurion always has towards Illidan. Illidan has always been the one to reach a hand toward Malfurion and say, let's bury this hatchet between us. Malfurion has never once reached back, and he never does at the end of this expansion, and that irritates me to no end. Both of their responses to Illidan's letter, or his message at the end of Legion, I was not happy at all. I still haven't forgiven these two for that. Of course, I've never liked Tyrande, and Malfurion basically never helps his case at all.
My life.
The only time I've ever, times I actually find myself liking Malfurion is when we're, dealing with the Emerald Nightmare. But anyway, that's for another time.
The king is wise to focus on the Legion's threat. Even now, the demons move among us. The Illidari will aid the cause of the Alliance. We believe that they have set their sights on key locations around Azeroth. In fact, they could already be in your midst. I sense they are close.
In Lord Illidan.
Say the word and I shall reveal the enemy. This is great. Watch this. This speaks volumes to the Legion.
Did you think I wouldn't see who you truly are, demon? You discovered us too late, Illidari. Fellblade attack. You have found me out. Demons in the throne room! Protect the king! Shatter their portals! Drive out the Legion! So I just want to say that's just one of those things that, to me, I just find hilarious about the Burning Legion. They just immediately like, you have found me out. Like, the moment they are like accused of like not being who they actually are, they just don't even bother. They're just like, oh yes, I am I am a demon. You have found me out. No subtlety, no like, no, you're wrong. No, none of that. Just oh yes. Because the Legion just has this idea like, it doesn't matter, we will always win. It's just hilarious, and they do this on both factions. And it just happens throughout the expansion. It's hysterical. There's the portal. By the way, I still have the buffs carrying over from the beginning of the event. Versatility increased by 24. Let's go destroy the other portal and kill a couple more demons. This is hilarious, though. The NPCs, the guards, they're killing the demons before I can even have a chance to actually tag them. There we go. Just a couple more, right? There we go.
Sometimes we must fight for what we believe in.
I do like how they all position themselves, like, you know, around Anduin. Like, they basically, like, form a barrier here. And every one of these people here are skilled, in some way to a degree. I mean, you've got Malfurion, you've got Jace, of course you got Moira, Falstad, and Muradin, you've got Asa, you have Velen, right at Anduin's side, you got Tyrande. I just like that some of them are showing off their abilities here. It's pretty great.
This attack, even the battle on the Broken Shore, it's only the beginning of the Legion's campaign. If we don't find a way to stop them, we're going to lose everything that my father and the other leaders built. We need the strength of the Illidari behind us. At first, I was unsure whether it was wise to allow the Illidari inside the city, but they may have just saved all of our lives. I gave the Demon Hunters leave to establish a temporary camp in the Mage Quarter. I'd like you to be my personal envoy to them. Thank the Illidari for their assistance and see how they can aid our cause. Just keep your eyes open. They have harnessed a terrible power, and we must be ready should they be consumed by the darkness within. Anduin, you are speaking to a Death Knight. I mean, you're kind of like telling me stuff that's like, yeah, and? I mean, your father did the same thing for me when I first showed up here. So, you know, back when this was Wrath, where if you did this now, it's Anduin, but back, you know, before Legion, it was always Varian. So, anyway.
Safe journey to you.
Now, if you're wondering, how come we're still going on this? Don't worry. It's intentional. I just realized I never once used those bandages during the event. I have a certain point to stop this in mind. So I find that this is like, oh, okay, we just put up little banners here. They get this little area here. A reluctant quartermaster. Of course, you'll notice that the Illidari that are here, they're just night elves. Because, of course, you can't have any of the blood elf Illidari here.
No, they just wouldn't be welcome. Only the Night Elf ones. And I just found it hysterical that a force like the Illidari, that they are still, restricted to faction stuff. I'm not talking about the players, I'm talking about the NPCs. That not one single Blood Elf Demon Hunter would actually be allowed to be here. Only the Night Elf ones. And I just find that's like, really? We're still doing this?
I've sacrificed everything. What have you given?
I'm a Death Knight, dude. I see by the blood spatters that Jace revealed the demons to you. I trust the young king is safe. We have more work ahead of us, Death Knight, much more. And we should be hearing from Khadgar in just a moment.
Dalaran is under siege, hero. The Legion intends to knock us out of the sky. Meet me in Dalaran over Deadwind Pass. I have a plan. A horribly dangerous plan. But a plan nonetheless.
Love you, Khadgar. After scouring Ulduar and Karazhan for answers, we know the key to defeating the Legion. 5 ancient artifacts that are called the Pillars of Creation. To find them, Dalaran must be moved to the Broken Isles. As our leader, Jaina, is absent, Kaligos of the Blue Dragonflight has offered the Kirin Tor his aid. The Legion is assaulting our current position over Deadwind Pass. Hurry!
If we don't meet again.
By the way, that pop-up, that was basically the ending point of,
Have a good one.
Of the pre-launch event. And hearing Khadgar there, that was basically the launch of Legion. It's kind of like how you would do the battle for Lordaeron and BFA, and then all of a sudden, you hear Magni go, "Champion!" Ah! Oh. Oh gosh! I'm up in the air! Oh. Okay, we're good. We're safe. But yeah. Yeah, Dalaran is in Deadwind Pass, near Karazhan. And the Legion is here bombarding it, because they're like, yeah, screw you, we're just gonna bombard your city with our airships. Because yes, the Legion have spaceships. Deal with it. It's funny the amount of people that just like have huge problem with the Legion having spaceship technology. I'm like, why? It's fantasy. Keep your science fiction out of it. Technology. I just found that that never made sense to me. So yeah, you'll see. There's Ansrum. There's Kalik. There's Karlane. There's Modera, madam. And there's Vargoth, you remember him from Burning Crusade?
Knowledge is...
And then, of course, Khadgar. The Legion bears down on us. We have but moments to spare. The shockwave of arcane energies that we are about to unleash should prove powerful enough to send them back to their cursed dimension for a time, giving us time to catch our breath and begin the search for the Pillars of Creation. Are you ready? I'm ready.
Without you.
Look at this. Look at this.
Citizens of Azeroth! Today is the day we turn the tide! Today is the day that we retake our world and send the Legion back to the hell that spawned them! Our path is clear! The Pillars of Creation await on the Broken Isles!
I love how then later Khadgar just has a conversation with, oh gosh, what's his name? The Nightborn who specializes in teleportation in Suramar. Oculus. He just is talking to Oculus about it, and Oculus is kind of like, what? A whole city? And Khadgar's like, well, I did have some help.
It was just awesome seeing both Oculus and Khadgar get along and just like start to build a friendship. That was great. So here we are. We have made it to Dalaran.
Need help?
Ah, Vernix, it's good to see you on your feet. The members of the Council of Six are recuperating from their ordeal. The intensity of the teleportation spell can be disorienting. It seems that you lost consciousness for a time, but at least you didn't awaken to find yourself stuck in a wall. Yeah. Dalaran has been relocated to the Broken Isles. From here we will spearhead the efforts to acquire the Pillars of Creation and drive the Legion from Azeroth once and for all. Got my Dalaran Hearthstone. Okay, Alright, so what should we do now? I wonder what I could be doing now. What's my next step? I wonder. I must attend to all the visitors. Good luck. Well, thank you. I'll see if I can find something to do around here. Oh, hey, look, it's Cloud and Aerith. How fitting with the Final Fantasy VII Remake being out.
Destiny calls to you.
Hello, Lich King. So this is pretty much where we're going to now cut this off. But before we do, I just want to once again just, take a moment to just kind of enjoy this. A chilling thought brushes your mind.
Hear me, Papaneeks. The Legion has returned. They hope to control us, to bend us to their will. Fools. They only walk back within reach of our blades. Your brethren within Dalaran have begun to gather at Crassus Landing. Go, meet with Duke Landgrawl, and all will be explained.
So if you don't mind, I am now off to go do the Death Knight artifact weapons and the campaign and such. In the process of getting this character to 120, you will see this character once again when I finally get him to level 120 to do the Dwarven Heritage Armor quest line. But until then, I hope you enjoyed seeing the Broken Shore event from the perspective of the Alliance, and I will see you guys next time.